Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about how much interest did I pay on my mortgage. If you all did not know and you're new to my channel, my name is Nija and we paid off our mortgage debt in August 2023. So we are almost coming up on 2 years of being mortgage free. And before that, I had not really thought about paying off the mortgage until around 2018, and I'll go through a little timeline with you regarding how much that I paid for mortgage interest payments for each year that I had the loan. But let's just talk about how much is it actually costing you to own your home, whether you pay it off early or if you don't pay it off early. I'm also going to have another video that comes out that talks about, is it wise to pay off your mortgage? There's also a flip side to it as well, and so I want to make sure that I am showcasing and sharing that information also, because not everyone has a desire to pay off their mortgage. In today's video, I'm going to tell you how much interest that I actually paid for my mortgage. If you don't know what mortgage interest is, it is basically whenever you get your mortgage rate, that is how much extra or the percentage that you're going to be paying on top of what you're paying for your monthly payments. Basically the bank saying, we will loan you this money, however, you're going to have to pay some extra on top of it for whatever it is that we loan you. If they happen to have a $1,500 mortgage and their mortgage interest is $1,200, then that is $2,700 that they are now paying to the bank for the mortgage principal as well as the interest that has been tacked on. I'm excited to partner with Philips today. I have been using this brand for quite some time regarding my oral hygiene. You know, if I trust them with my oral hygiene, then I'm going to trust them with my home improvement. They wanted to collaborate with me regarding their RetroFit lock, which you can still use with your keys. How cool is that? But this gives an upgraded look to your lock that you currently have, and I was very excited to say yes and try out this retro lock. So let me tell you a little bit more about it. Find this lock on Amazon, and I will have it in my description box and the pinned comment. The retro lock came very well packaged, and it gave you a preview of everything that was actually in the box on the different sides of the box. It came with the instruction manual. It came in 3 different languages for the instruction manual, which I was really impressed with, as well as it gave all of the parts that I needed with simple instructions on how to set up everything. So it was really easy to install this lock. I will say I thought it was going to be much more intimidating than what it was. Here we have the sensors that go right above the retro lock. You want to make sure that you are putting them in close proximity as it states and not further away. This is in order for it to be able to pair with the app. Now I'm just showing you how we are fitting it on our deadbolt that we had previously. We still have our bottom lock, but this is going to make it so much more convenient and easy, especially with our kids, so that they don't have to have keys. They can actually use the app, and or if we have a lot of bags in our hand, this works perfectly for us to be able to just use the app and open up the door so that we can get in quickly. And also, one thing that I love about the app is that if you happen to forget to use the app in order to lock it, you can set a timer for the app to automatically lock your door. Here I'm just demonstrating how the lock works from the inside, and then also showing you guys how it works with the app. This was super simple to set up. It also tells you about the home access, the voice assistant. You can use it with Google or Alexa. Once again, I would like to thank Philips for collaborating with me on a home improvement project. View their products for yourself on Amazon. The link will be in the pinned comment. We purchased the home in April 2008, so it was before the crash of 2008. It was a 30-year mortgage. It was at 5.5%, and we did have the VA loan with Wells Fargo. That is who we started off with. We did put down $500 as far as the earnest money and no money down. Now that was one of the benefits of the loan, is that we didn't have to put any money down, and honestly we had not thought about putting any money down. In hindsight, would I put money down if I know what I knew now and all those things? Yes, I would have actually put a nice down payment, but here we are. So with no extra payments, we would have paid $393,000 for this starter home if we would have just took the 30 years and just paid it off in 2038. 2008, we paid $4,171.26. In 2009, we paid $7,073.45 in interest payment. 2010, we paid around $6,968.23. Now, I did an estimate for this. How I did it was because I couldn't find the actual tax paperwork for 1 or 2 years, actually about 2 years. And so what I did was I just kind of split the difference from the year ahead and the year behind just to kind of get a roundabout figure. So the amount should have been somewhere along in here. For 2011, it was $6,863.01. In 2012, we have another estimate here. That was $6,745.56. At this point, being 4.5 years into the loan, we have already paid $31,821.51. Let that sink in, guys. That is quite an amount of money to pay, and you're not even really a good portion into the loan. What I've always been told and how banks do it is that they front load the interest because they know that most people aren't going to be or stay in their first home forever, and that they will typically move out within like the first 5 years or within the first 10 years and upgrade and go to a bigger home or something. So they make sure that they get all of their interest up front. And yeah, $31,000 so far in 4.5 years is insane. Moving on to 2013, it was $6,628.12 that we paid in interest. And then 2014, it was $6,500.68. 2015, it was $6,366.03. This is the year that I started to explore the Dave Ramsey finances and just the way of what he was talking about, how to structure your finances, how to get on the baby step plans. In 2012, I had actually gotten laid off from my job. For quite some time, I was working part-time, and then also I was doing some PTA things at my son's school. So I wasn't working full-time for quite some time. So this was just like the start of it. I had credit card debt. I also had a car loan as well. So I wanted to see exactly what could I do regarding his plan in order to help our financial situation. 2016 was $4,866.72. In June of that year, we refinanced, and the balance at that time was $110,000. So when we refinanced, we did pay $4,903.46 because that's what the bank added on our refinance charges. That took us to a 15-year mortgage. Instead of us refinancing for a 30, we did a 15-year mortgage at that point. The loan would have been paid off in 2031. Other fees that were added on, as I stated, that brought it to $115,750, and now we were at a 3.375% as far as our mortgage interest rate. In 2017, it was $3,731.90 interest that we paid. In 2018, that was $3,521.15. It's also the year that we became consumer debt free. And funny story, not funny, well, it's funny now, but it wasn't then. In August of 2018, I was actually set to pay off my car loan because I had already paid off the credit card debt. And so we had a good working plan. And I ended up wrecking my vehicle like a week or two before I was supposed to pay it off. It was completely totaled. And the insurance company, they did give me some money, probably like $4,500. However, I needed to get another car because where I live, you have to have a vehicle. There's no public transportation available. And so I ended up getting right back in debt with a new car, $1,000, tax tag, title, license, all of those things. The Civic 2011, that's what I have right now. I hustled my butt off from like September, October time frame to December in order to make sure that I became debt free. And so yeah, consumer debt free since 12/2018. Next, in 2019, we paid $3,300.56 towards the mortgage principal. We also that year decided to beef up the emergency fund and actually have a fully funded emergency fund, which was $15,000 for us. So we took time off that year to beef up the emergency fund, and that became a priority for us. And so we didn't think about putting any extra towards the mortgage principal or payments at that time because we wanted to have a good safety net following the Dave Ramsey plan. In 2020, we paid $2,957.28, and the mortgage balance in February 2020 was $92,000. Now, we all know what happened in 2020. I don't think I need to say it, but I held off on paying extra on the mortgage for a couple of months because I wanted to see how things were going to pan out, how things were going to shape up, especially because we had just finished up our emergency fund to $15,000. And so I wanted to see, with the uncertainty of everything that was going on, how things were going to play out. But after that time frame, I started applying more money to the principal. Initially, during the first couple months, I was like, while we were waiting, I would maybe put $25 or $50 extra on the mortgage principal just to kind of see what it would look like. And that actually became very addictive. In 2021, we started getting really, really serious. At the end of 2020, the mortgage interest payment that we paid was $2,172.20. And then, as you can see, in 2022, it got really, really serious. The mortgage interest principal that we paid then was $1,220.90. And then, of course, in August 2023, we paid off the mortgage, and for that year, we only paid $279.80. Including refinance fees, the amount of interest paid total that we paid for our home extra to the bank, giving them a little bit of extra money, was $73,366.09. So total, what we paid for our home, because we can't just say, oh, it was $131,000. That is what the bank loaned us, but they also added on that extra in order for them to get their money as well. So total, we paid with the refinance fees, mortgage interest, $209,269.55 for our home. Now, our home is almost pretty much worth 3 times the amount of the original value of it. So we're doing well as far as the property value of our home. However, that's a lot of money, and I know that if we would not have paid off the mortgage, this amount would have been triple, quadruple, a million times more than what it was right here. Because of the fact that we did pay extra on it, we were able to reduce that amount. Even though this is painful to look at that number, it could have been much worse. So I wanted to share with you guys just some realistic numbers of how much did it actually cost us to pay for our home. Now, I know everybody is not interested in paying off their mortgage. They feel like that money can go towards investing and other things that they need and other things that they feel are important. And you are certainly entitled to that opinion, that right, that feeling. I'm not discounting it at all. However, this was the correct and the right route for us because it has propelled us and been able to put us on a path that we were not on, especially financially previously. If you are looking at paying off your mortgage, you can look at this and see like, wow, they really do tag on a lot of extra money. You're not looking at paying off your mortgage, but maybe you're looking at paying off your student loans, or maybe you're looking at paying off some other debt that you have, car loans, credit card. If you can, you're game for it. Apply those extra payments to the principal in order to get that balance down as quickly as possible, because the banks are they are getting all that they can get from us, and it's only hurting us in the end. All right, guys, if you happen to enjoy this video of how much did I pay for my mortgage with the mortgage interest, please make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, as well as if you enjoy content such as this, such as mortgage free and or talking about the mortgage, subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Make sure you hit the all notification bell so that you are receiving all of the notifications regarding my videos, as well as comment below. Has anyone actually tried to add up the interest payments for any loan or any debt that you have? I know, guys, it's heartbreaking to look at, and it probably will just put you in a depressing state. But I find that this is motivating for me, even though I did it on the back end, because it shows me how much extra the banks were receiving and how much extra that I don't want to give them anymore. Until I talk to you guys in the next video, bye.